Hopefully she doesn't set on fire. Oh. Okay guys, I'm back in Bob's shop and I have a special treat for you. I think this welder may be older than the other one that I welded with before. Bob gave me this. This is actually a family heirloom. His grandfather welded with this, and Bob was good enough to go ahead and give it to me now. So here's the welder. So apparently this has been in Bob's family for a long time. I guess this is the first welder he used. He was gracious enough to give it to me. Today we're gonna see if she still welds. P&H is an interesting company. I started doing some research on this. It turns out P&H doesn't even really specialize in making welders. It's a company who's still around today, but where they started and what they still do is make mining equipment. And the reason they got into making arc welders is they weren't satisfied with the arc welders that were on the market at the time. And being in Montana, there's actually quite a few of these floating around. And the reason being is there's a strong mining industry in Montana, and there's been for the last 100 years. And P&H supplied a lot of the mining equipment to the mines here in Montana. So henceforth, we got this old bad boy. And I actually seen a few more of these floating around on Facebook Marketplace, this exact model in the area. So that says to me, back whenever this thing was made, because I can't figure that out, there was a distributor in the area. So I'm lucky enough to get my hands on one and be able to weld with it. And this time, I don't have to go chasing leads around. Bob had some leads that came with it. But let me tell you a little bit more about this old girl. It's a 20 to 185 amp welder, so not as high amperage as the other Smith welder that I showed you guys back then. Here's a picture of it. But it's an AC welder just like the Smith was. This one, you adjust the amperage by cranking this.
Subscribe!
Here. And then it has 3 inserts here. One of them is a ground, the center one right here, and one is a high, one is a low. And as you can see, it's double-sided with the numbers. On the one side, it goes from 50 to 185, and the other side from 20 to 100. So you just adjust your amperage like so, which is pretty nifty. I really like this crank thing. Adds a little bit more, I don't know, nostalgia to it for me. And again, this thing is just a great shape. You know, I mean, back then, they really took pride in making stuff look really cool. You can see even the painting details, and it's got that cool patina, you know I love. What we're gonna do before we can fire this bad boy up and see if she welds, Bob says the last time he used it, which was about 20 years ago, it welded. We need to cut the cord end off and go ahead and switch it to a modern 220 cord. There is 4 plugs, I believe. No, there's only 3 wires running through this. And the style plug that Bob has is this one right here. It's a 3-prong, straight blade, heavy duty angle plug. And this is what it looks like right here. This is pretty standard in the welding world for a 220 plug-in. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead, rewire this thing real quick. Hopefully it works. So I really like these plug heads because they're idiot proof. And if you remember my last video, I miswired it.
We decided to ground one of the 120 leads to the frame of the machine instead of actually sending it through the transformer. You're lucky that you didn't shock yourself.
We'll smoke the rod pretty good. And this one tells me where to put the wires. Black, green, white. Which I'm pretty sure this thing has coordinating colors to that. So I'm gonna start by cutting this thing off. Damn, it's a good fucking wire. I mean, look, they got cloth in this thing. I mean, this thing has got to be at least 50, 60 years old from what my guesstimate is. It looks like maybe the 40s. Okay. Come on, there we go. Man, that's some thick fucking rubber. Okay, so it is just a bare wire for the green connection, but we have a black and a white. And it's actually funny because they painted the wire itself green. Okay, let's get some of the string out of the way for that. Okay. Okay, so there's one. This coating is very, very fragile. This wire is not as thick as I thought it would be. All right, let's get that head on. Okay. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Come on, you fucker. Get in there. Might have this actually worked out now. Maybe. Yep. Okay. So I've got her worked out. We've got her wired up right as far as I know. And we just need to get this thing put back together. I am not an electrician. Let me put that out there. Get our back on this thing. And it's almost time to see if she'll work. Okay, looks good to me. Hopefully she doesn't set on fire. How the fuck did this thing get so crooked? What the fuck happened there? Alrighty. Well, no sparks, so that's a good fucking sign. Let's flip her on. Well, this one makes a noise when it comes on, so that's different from the other one. The other one's completely silent. All right, and now what you want to do is stick your fingers in both the negative and the positive. I'm just kidding, don't do that. Please don't do that. Anyway, let's hook the leads up. All right, so here's our ground. These leads are definitely not in the best shape, so I'm going to be very careful to not arc off places like that. Might even tape this up real quick. Actually, let me tape these up real quick and then we'll get back to this. So I've got the leads all bandaged up. I've got the plug on, and what a bastard. And I'm sure this fucking cord was full of asbestos because it had like this cloth-like stuff in it. But anyway, let's go ahead and plug this bad boy in. This one would be definitely not the nicest leads ever, but you know, this is just to see if the old girl will work. This here's the positive, so we'll stuff her in the low. This is the low side here. I don't know if you guys can see that. And then we'll stuff this one right in the middle, which is the ground. All right, and let's flip her on. She's definitely on. And I'm gonna crank her down to 100 amps. Sweet. We've got the old girl set up. I've got my ground attached. No, I'm not gonna grind my metal because I don't feel like it. And if you're running AC, there's really only two rods I run. I know you can run 7018 AC, and they make various other rods, but I have some 7014 and some 6013 here, so we're gonna be trying both rods out on this thing and see how it does. Yeah, these leads have seen better days, but it's all right. We're gonna start with our 7014 and see how it runs. Well, if it runs. All right, a little loose in there. Electrode holder definitely is not new. Oh. Definitely a little hot. It's actually running fucking pretty good. Let's crank her down to 75, or I guess technically up because the thing's going up. But let's crank her up. Okay, that should be about 75 amps. I kind of like this machine more than the Smith because the Smith had those plugins, and it seems like you probably have more adjustability with this old machine. But let's try, actually, you know what, 75 is going to be too little. So let's go right between 75 and 100, and maybe that'll give us about 85 or 90 amps. Definitely welds. Could have put a couple more passes down. I like running this 7014. It's different. Nice. Let's try the 6013 out. And this is 3/32, so I'm gonna need to break the amperage down a little bit. We'll go above 75 because it seems like this thing runs a little hotter than what a new machine runs. Man, this thing's fucking smooth. Very, very smooth machine. I mean, very smooth. I would dare to say that that is a smoother machine than the Smith. I mean, that's just absolutely incredible, you know, especially for an AC machine. Oh yeah, look at that. Real nice beads. So as you can see, she definitely welds. I'm pretty impressed. For our next test, just like we did the Smith, I'm gonna weld this piece of angle iron to the pieces that I've just welded, and I'm gonna try a couple of uphill passes with the 70-14 and the 60-13. I might even try to run the 60-13 downhill. Let's see how this pans out. Let's try between 50 and 75 and see what that does for us. Well, I gotta weld this on first, but that doesn't really matter. That actually is pretty fucking solid. A lot better than the Smith on the uphill. Let us see what our uphill pass looks like. Wow, pretty fucking impressive. That is a pretty slick fucking uphill weld with 60-13. 60-13 is kind of a bitch to weld with, to be perfectly honest with you. This is just that shitty weld I laid on really quickly just to kind of give her a place to rest. But yeah, as you can see, that came out pretty good. Let's run a couple of more and see what kind of results we get. We'll play with the amperage. See if we can't put a whole stick through her. She's getting hot now. Fucked up a little bit there. That was me though, not the welder. All right, down to the numbers. See, I got real hot, and that was between 50 and 75 amps, so I would say maybe 65 amps. Oh yeah, not bad. Not bad at all. This is where I fucked up right there. I moved too fast. But honestly, I mean, that's right here I moved too fast, and right here I moved too fast. But honestly, that's not bad for 60-13. Let's go a little lighter. Let's go just under 75, and let's try to run the 70-14 uphill and see what we can get. The interesting thing I noticed about welding with this machine that I didn't notice on the Smith is it seems to have a cleaning action. It's very interesting. It's almost like AC TIG, but with stick. I don't know if the Smith was doing that and I just wasn't paying attention. But let's pop the slag off and see what kind of results we got. Right, definitely not the prettiest weld out there, but that 70-14's got to be 6-7 years old, and well, frankly, I don't often weld with AC or 70-14, but I'm pretty happy with that result, you know, for a machine that's probably, you know, 80, 100 years old. I think, maybe, I don't know.
You know how long it's been since I stick welded?
Probably a little bit of time. boys. Doing the old cursive E, huh?
I don't know, whatever you call it. But,
Cool.
yeah.
I appreciate you giving me the welder, man. It's a fucking really cool gift.
Like I said, I would have, I know you'd like it, and
Dude,
it would have just taken up space with me. So.
well, maybe I'll make it into an end table. Or a dining room table. All right, guys, let's shut the old girl down and put everything away. Well, I just want to take a second to say thank you to Bob for letting me use his shop and giving me this cool old freaking welder and really helping me out with my content because, hey, without being able to be in this shop and without getting this welder, I wouldn't be able to bring this stuff to you guys. But there's a lot of old welders around here. That's what I'm figuring out. So hopefully I can bring more of these videos to you guys because I really enjoy welding with these old machines and showing what they can do. This thing is really impressive for what it is. And I would say out of all the old machines I've used, this one is the best by a mile. I mean, the art characteristics of it, I mean, everything. I can see why P&H wanted to start making their own welders, and they really knew what they were doing. It's just too bad they got out of the business, and, well, I guess they just didn't make money like they did with the mining equipment. Well, guys, I'm Melton Metal Anthony. If you like the video, like it, share it, subscribe, do the whole nine for your boy. If not, well, you can go fuck yourself. All right? See ya.